All right, so you touched on earlier about people coming to Loras for athletic activities and events. How do you guys help accommodate those kind of spectators who do have disabilities? Say for the Rock Bowl, for instance, going down into the stands. Is there ways that Loras helps accommodate for that?
Yeah, well, one of the things, as I'm sure you guys know through your research and the legislation of ADA, the American Disabilities Act, when you put together a facility, whether it's a building, a stadium, you have to have accessibility by law for those in wheelchairs. And obviously our newer facilities, places like the Rock Bowl, which is not a newer facility, but it's a rehab facility, and when you rehab, you have to upgrade and meet those ADA qualifications. This building, the AWC, meets all ADA accessibility. As a matter of fact, the stadium meets all ADA specifications. One of the nice features in my mind about both the stadium and this venue for handicap accessibility is the issue of the concourses that are provided. One of the things that we have, as you guys know, both in the Rock Bowl and here, is there's some soft area in the stadiums that is available to spectators that isn't necessarily seating. So right here we have some indents where you can be, if you're in a wheelchair, you can scoot up to that glassed in insert or indent, and you can be, if you're in the stands or in the bleachers watching the game from a wheelchair. That's also the case obviously in the Rock Bowl. You come down the field house, we have the ramp from the field house down to the concourse area, and we also have some indents with that as well. One of the things that I think is nice about the Rock Bowl that we try and accommodate here is quite often you have spaces like that that are for people in wheelchairs to sit and watch, but then you don't always have seating for their friends.
Right.
I mean, generally when you guys go to a game, you don't go to a game by yourself necessarily and expect to sit. One of the reasons you go to a game is to be social, be with your family, be with your friends. So one of the things that this, if you haven't seen it, go up and what you would have to get some film of that. There's the indents where you sit, but then there's also single seating next to those indents. So if you're in a wheelchair and you're with a spouse or somebody in your family, they can sit with you there. The same as here, we end up pulling out some chairs, so if you end up in a wheelchair out here, we'll pull up chairs for your friends to sit with you as well.
Agree.
We cannot give students rides on campus. That is not allowed because of liability reasons. But we can help them in other ways, such as when a person comes and they're on crutches or need crutches, we actually have some here that they can borrow. Other things we can do is, depending on where they live in the halls, if they live anywhere above the first floor, we can actually give them an elevator key that they can borrow for that. If it's for a short amount of time, we lend it to them. If it's going to be for a whole semester or a whole year, some students have issues that they need the elevator key for the whole year. Then with a doctor's note, then they're allowed to use the key.
Any kind of
No, we have in the past provided accommodations for students for a special desk, like in the science lecture hall.
Okay.
So you can do that, have something moved in for them, and so that they don't have to go up in those bleachers or do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it depends.
Simple phone call of just having conversation with the family, and then realizing that either the student or the parent visiting has some type of handicap, and due to the fact that cane is not handicap accessible, we do a couple things. We first find out how severe their handicap is. If they're in a wheelchair, if they're able to do any type of walking upstairs, or if they're not. If it's where they're confined to the wheelchair, then we'll have the visit all begin at the Alumni Campus Center, because that is the one location that you can get to without needing to use the stairs. So,
for your athletes, are there any resources that you can offer them?
You know what? I actually do not know the answer to that question. I know we can probably contact Student Life to see what things we can make easier for them, but I'm not aware of any resources on campus.
I know like Health Center has crutches that they provide to students if they need crutches to get around. With actual being able to give people rides and stuff, we're not allowed to do that. Too many liabilities. It's been pulled a long time ago. So we will walk with students, like our escort service. We will help them, handicapped students. So if they need a hand, we'll walk with them and give them a hand in that aspect, but we can't technically just give them a ride.